Hey VC, CJ Marcy Cannell here. Didn't expect to do another VC video so soon. I figured I'd wait a few days till I have a few things in. But for one thing, I did get a couple of things in. Second of all, there was a contest I saw over the weekend that apparently I missed the deadline under, but I figured that just for answering the thread, I'd join in on the discussion anyway. So indulge me. Thank you very much. Couple of things okay. Couple of things. I got another little package from Third Man Records today because I do a lot of collecting whenever they pop up something interesting on the website. Because I've always been like a dutiful collector of that label ever since Jack White made it a full-fledged label in 2009. In fact, I'm like one of the early members of the Third Man Vault, so I've got in the library practically I do have every Vault release, and I'll show them off at one point in the back catalog video. But beyond that, I'll just show off a couple things I picked up from last week. Apparently he's digging up a few things from his old hometown at Detroit, and reissuing them on his label. So one of them is Rockfire Funk Express. People Save the World backed with the song called Rockfire Funk Express. And one of the more interesting things about this historically, I haven't played these yet, just got home about a half hour ago from picking these up and everything and being at work. The interesting thing historically about this is the guys on this record later formed a proto-punk band called Death, who back in 2009, Drag City Records put out a 12-inch of their sessions from when they were Death. And I'm looking forward to hearing this because I like the Death record. I want to hear what they were capable of when they were doing funk. So that's going to be very interesting because I grew up on a lot of 70s soul and funk when I was like a little nerd. And the other one apparently just had mythic status because all that ever existed until recently was the sleeves, and apparently because people thought, oh, they just made up a sleeve to make a fake band, but apparently the one pressing they did was defective and they didn't get a refund, which had to be a really sleazy pressing plant that I hope went out of business quick after that. But apparently the recordings did exist. Jack White made a few phone calls, a little detective work, and the result was finally a reissue almost 40 years after the fact, 30, 40 years, of an EP called Tang Mania by the Underwear Heads. Yeah, unusual, but some people will pick up on that, and I'm one of those dorks that picked up on that. 6 songs. I think this is the first 7-inch that Third Man ever did that was small hole and 33 and a third RPM, which you have to be 33 and a third RPM to fit all that music onto a 7-inch. That much I know from collecting punk 7-inches, which I still do on occasion, whenever I can find them and get the gumption to pay for them. Okay, leftover VC cheers, sorry. Also from Third Man, I didn't get this yet until now. I don't know why, because I have all the other 3 singles from Jack White's first solo album, but I finally picked up I'm Shaken, Backed with Blues on 2 Trees, and if you ever saw the other 3 sleeves of this, they all go together in like a storyline. So that part of the Third Man collection is complete. I still got a bunch of 45s from Third Man, from the Blue series and the Green series to pick up. I kind of slacked off because I got the single release double albums from the Vault, so I slacked off there. Sorry, but I'll catch up. They're not going to go out of print anytime soon, unless there's a nuclear holocaust, and all that stuff will be cockroaches and Keith Richards. Okay, another recent pickup that I left out of the first video, which was the long 45-minute introduction with all the recent additions to this library. This one I picked up because I bought one of the release from a label called Drunken Sailor out of England, And the reason I had bought from them before, because there was a split single. One side had Discharge, the legendary hardcore punk band. The other side, a band called Off With Their Heads, that on this record had Mike Watts sitting in with them on bass, which is why I bought that in the first place. I'll show it to you some other time, but I got an email from them with some of the new releases, and this looked interesting enough to take a chance on. A split single that Drunken Sailor did with like co-releasing with 4 other labels, and each one of them did like, I guess, a couple hundred copies each in a different color. So Drunken Sailor's was brown, I guess beer brown, because Drunken Sailor. And the bands are a grindcore punk band from Japan called A Page of Punk. So there's like 12 songs running together. I'm not going to run down the whole track list. And then the other side, I guess, an American band, punk band called Werewolves on Motorcycles. I only listened to this once via the download when I first bought the EP. Didn't get a chance to actually spin the vinyl yet, but eventually I will. That's on the to listen to list. Shoot that right here with the 45s, 7 inches, whatever. Oh, 45s in here. I'll get to them in one piece. You have to pardon my voice. It's bad allergy season. Once the grass pollen goes up, that's it for me, unless I take something or I stay out of the yard. That got me out of cutting the grass as a kid, but it also unfortunately kept me from playing golf. Take the good for the bad. Now, answering Beninski707's thread about the 10 inches, I did notice watching a couple of the videos that some people have Cheap Tricks found all the parts 10 inch, which was the first 10 inch I ever bought back in 1980. Still don't have it, but it's not here. It's in my parents' house. Now, I have the Clash one also back home, and also one of the new discs that Epic put out, Propaganda, Calling on Moscow. Great kind of power poppy new wave 10 inch. I remember pulling it out when I got my most recent turntable, the New Mark. I don't know why I didn't do a final rip on that. Maybe someday soon when I get back to the parents' place and do a little crate digging, I'll bring that over and do a little drop, because I missed that record. But I never got any of the others. Maybe some of the collect. I don't know. Anyway, part of this also, I left some of these 10 inches out in the last video because I got them the same time as some of the other releases. The first 3 were from Record Store Day this year. These 2 were all spontaneous purchases, but I grabbed them because I was interested. Both of the Animals 10-inch EPs, they both run 45. The Animals is here, and the Animals are back. Of course, this one just has House of the Rising Sun and a couple of other covers, and one lone Eric Burden and Alan Price original, I'm Crying. I don't know why it spins at 45. Usually all the ones I've seen are 33. Of course, the other one, real cool, because Bring It On Home to Me, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood, and We've Got to Get Out of This Place. All on here. Very cool to finally have a copy of the original version of We Gotta Get Out of This Place, because I have Fear's cover version on their first album, The Record, in the original / independent pressing, and I have a cover version that Jello Biafra did with DOA on their collaborative album that I'm totally forgetting the name of right now because I don't have it here. I just have the digital copies. And the last one from this year's Record Store Day, that was a 10-inch. This is actually more for my wife because she likes this band, but I can dig them too. It saves me from having to hear Katy Perry. The Mumford & Sons live at Bull Moose, live from Bull Moose 10-inch. I didn't even rip this yet for her, but eventually I will. Didn't even play it, but it's here. It's ready to play. And one from a past Record Store Day. I can't remember what it was. Last year's Record Store Day. This was. Somebody texting me. Ignore that for the moment. For the last Record Store Day last year, Pete Townsend, the Quadrophenia Demos 2. Was there a Quadrophenia Demos 1 10-inch? I want to know. I would like a copy because I like Pete Townsend. Look at that. A dream room someday when I get an actual house. A recording studio. The instruments at the ready. There is a 4-track, but pretty soon, because I'm going to do original material with my own project pretty soon, I'm getting a digital workstation and maybe getting a Mac PowerBook soon to do that kind of stuff. Okay, and from the Record Store Day the year before, 2011, picture disc. Anthrax from the Sonosphere, excuse me, I can't talk today. The Sonosphere Festival 2010. In fact, I think these are the same performances that are on the Big 4 Blu-ray documentary. They don't say what songs are on the record, but I did do a Neil drop and played it once. One side is Medusa from the second Anthrax album, Spreading the Disease. The other is only from the first album they did with John Bush, I think his name was. But very cool to hear Joey Belladonna, who I think is the Anthrax singer, taking on the vocals on that song. I liked him a lot better than Bush. Two others. Oh, I remembered one other 10-inch I have that I could mention for the thread. That's back at the parents' house. In fact, if you look through my videos, you're going to see a turntable video with a track from that 10-inch. I have a weird colored split 10-inch EP from two recently disbanded punk bands, Bond the Music Industry on one side and O Pioneers on the other. And very interesting black and white vinyl. You can see in that turntable video one of the O Pioneers songs, a track called Punk News is Stoked, which is basically a theft to the trolls that frequent that site's comment boards. Back to the other two 10-inches I have here. Nothing to do with Record Store Day. This one, I actually know these guys through Facebook after discovering their second album. And great band from Singapore, a grindcore band called Wormrot. This is an EP called Noise. Very cool cover art from the lead singer Arif Rot. And 5 songs in about as many minutes maybe on a 10-inch. Most of the copies that exist are actually free download copies from Scion Audio Visual, but those who wanted it on vinyl, Wormrot's label, Earache, did the hookup for that, so when I could grab one, I grabbed one. It's the only Wormrot I have on vinyl, everything else is disc. Check out Wormrot if you're into grindcore. There's some very precise and amazing stuff for the intensity and everything, and from where they come from. Excuse me. And last 10-inch, know something from the Discord archives, Rites of Spring, which is like pre-Fugazi, because Keith Patrol and Brendan Canty were in this band before Fugazi. And if you're anything at all into alternative music, you should have the Rites of Spring self-titled album in your collection. I highly recommend it. It's a great album. This was recorded the year before. This was their demo, and very lavishly packaged for Discord, which I'm glad they do, because they know they're going to get the vinyl sales, because they have that loyal following and the quality music in the library. And as I was saying, this came out late last year, early this year, I can't remember which, but this was recorded in 1984, the year before they recorded what's on the album. And initially it was just going to be a demo tape, and then one of the band members went off to college or whatever. And then about 10 months later, he showed up. I'm back, let's get the band back together, and off they went into punk rock history. Great stuff. That's why at the end of the demo, at the end of the second side of this, you hear a sampler going on, and then you hear, Mark Fellows is dead. That was like the other 3 guys ribbing him after he went off to California and they were trying to finish mixing the tape. that's it for that. Short and sweet compared to yesterday's video. Thanks for watching. I'll be getting into the back catalog pretty soon once I have some more free time. Until then, peace.